Hi, guys. Welcome to another interesting episode of I Have Questions with Maggie. And today I won't be talking much, but I have somebody on set with me that I believe that her story would not only touch lives, but hopefully I believe it changes a life or two and it inspires somebody to take actions against certain things that have prevailed in our society over time. I mean, it's 2025, and you won't believe the kind of things that are still happening within us. And this person she has not just been a wife, a mother, a young lady, but she's made the best candles and fragrances that I've had to use in, since when I started my hospitality business. And I have with me the very beautiful and delectable Miss Damilola. You
Thank you so
guys,
much. Thank you,
welcome to Have
Maggie.
Questions.
It's so
It's
good to be here.
it's really a privilege to have you here. I just kept thinking, is this, something that you're willing to talk about? But first of all, let's start from the beginning. Tell me, how was it like being a wife? How was it like, when you got married? What were you looking forward to, entering into marriage?
Thank you so much for this opportunity. And I chose to share this story because there are the statistics of young women out there who've lost their husbands, who are widowed at such a young age in their lives it will literally blow your mind.
A word. It does blow my
A
mind.
lot of young ladies under 40, it's alarming the percentage, and every year it keeps increasing, due to health issues. This generation, we're taking less care of our health
Yeah.
and chasing after the mundane things.
Mundane things. It's just vibes and cruise and it's
We don't
crazy.
do
We
checkups.
don't do
We don't check
checkups.
our health. We don't take it really seriously. We don't check our blood
We're just talking about
sugar,
skincare. We're talking about hair.
blood pressure. You don't check it.
Your heart.
And it's disheartening that at the end of the day, we the women are left to bear the brunt of these wrong decisions or choices. And sometimes they're not even choices. So mine, I was married to the most amazing, fantastic man.
Sorry.
My husband's name is Dr. Bumi Onoiko, and we were together from 2017 October
Oh.
till he passed. And my husband was everything and more for me.
I know, right? I mean, I
He,
knew you then.
he was the wind beneath my wings, as I would tell a lot of my friends and a lot of my clients who have had the opportunity to meet him one on one at the store will tell you that he's very hands on with me. He's not the kind of husband that just leaves you to be. When I have issues in my business, when I have issues to sort, delivery issues, and all of those things, my husband is very, very present. And my husband trained me to be better, helped me to be better as a person. In fact, I know I told you this behind the
Yeah,
scenes.
yeah.
I said I used to be a starter and my husband is the
He's a
finisher.
finisher. Perfect combination, if you
Do you
ask me.
understand? I'm amazing at starting projects, and then in there somewhere I just lose my ginger. I just lose my motivation. But you see him, he will keep telling me, "Don't forget why you started. Don't
Yes.
forget why you started. Make sure you finish and make a mark. And when you finish, you'll be able to say, hurrah, I
I
actually
did that.
completed this and I actually did this for
That
myself."
support, exceptional.
So when this man passed, it was like my world was over. It was like, okay, so how am I supposed to how am I supposed to go
Cope.
on?
Supposed to
How am I
go
supposed to
on.
figure this out? Knowing myself for myself. I met my husband when I had just started perfumery business. And the first day that I met him, we're still dating then, he told me, "I like your drive. I like your ambition. I like everything you've said about your business, but I would help you." He had not even gotten to know who I was. Like, oh, this person is a starter, not really. He had not gotten to know that part, but he was just like, "I will make sure I help you achieve everything you set your heart to do concerning this business." And that's why it's going to be 8 years this year being in perfumery business. I can say that I've done well for myself. I can say that I still continue to strive to be better. I can say that my husband has helped me to achieve heights that I never thought I would achieve in this business. So we got married officially in 2021, and we had our son that same year. We had our son in October. I got married in March 27th, 2021, and I had my son October 26th, 2021. I was happy. Life was good. My husband was, he gave everything and beyond. There was nothing I wanted to do that he was
They didn't
not
support.
supportive of. But, my husband is a cardiothoracic surgeon. And it was in 2021, just before we married, that he found out we had been together since 2017. And that was when he found out that he had an autoimmune disease
Oh my God.
called polymyalgia rheumatica.
Oh wow.
So polymyalgia sort of attacks your bones, your limbs.
Slowly.
It's an autoimmune disease.
Oh my God.
There's no cure. You can only manage. So autoimmune diseases have no cure. You can only, except by miracle, it has no cure. So my husband in 2020 had just finished a government contract in Abuja. He got a contract in Abuja, but he finished it in Ikiti for the Ministry of Water Resources. So they were supposed to build some set of toilets and stuff and renovating some schools in Ikiti, which is in Ado Ekiti, Ikere Ekiti, and one other town in Ikiti. So he has been away for a month. And then in January, time to be paid for the job he had executed, borrowed money and all to finish
I
it.
know how those things work.
I had invested some of the funds he helped me in my business to amass. So the money wasn't there. We're planning for our wedding. So he had to travel to Abuja. I was in Abuja for 2 weeks and he said, look, darling, listen, I'm going to Abuja and I'm not coming back without being paid. I don't know about my other colleagues who have done jobs, but I'm coming back and I'm getting paid. And he went and he actually got paid. So he came back beginning of February. And the day he was going to come back, I remember very well, the night before, he said, pray for me. I'm not feeling well. That was in 2021. I'm like, I'm not feeling well. Are you sure? What was it? He said, just pray for me. So I prayed. Then he was coming back in February. He was coming back. No, it was in January. Sorry, excuse me. I'm sure of the timeline. I was in January.
Yeah.
He was coming back in January. So I was making dishes. I was trying to welcome him back after being away for 2 weeks. And he just calls me and says, come pick me up at the airport by yourself. His PA was at home. I'm like, your PA is here, he's waiting for you. Let him come and pick him. He said, no. Okay, come with him. And when you're coming, buy me this medication, prednisolone. That drug is actually like a steroid. You know what steroids are? Athletes use steroids.
They use them for muscles.
So yeah. So he said, buy me prednisolone and bring it when coming. I didn't take what he said serious. Do you understand? We had not got married by then, but I was already with him. I just told the PA, buy prednisolone, buy this medication, make sure you buy it because he told me to bring it. But I don't want to go see him. I want him to get home. So he went to go pick him. When he got to the airport, when they picked him, they didn't tell me anything. The PA and one other guy that works, my husband, went to pick him. So I was at home. When he saw them, he now called me, darling, why did you come pick me at the airport? I was like, I'm trying to make you nice dishes. And I said, okay, no problem. So they picked him and they brought him home. And when they got home, the PA called me and said, come outside. Come outside. I said, why? Let him come inside. You guys come inside, just come outside. So I came outside. So my husband, at the time we're still dating, was sitting in the front seat and the PA was driving the car. So he now came down. The PA said, go to doctor. Go as if you're hugging him in the car and pull him out of the car. I said, why? If he comes out and hug him now, he said he can't walk well. I said, someone that went to Abuja by himself. How did he now come back home? He took flight. He said, so he calls me, my wife, the PA. My wife, please just help Oga.
Yes.
I just hugged him, I brought him out. I said, are you tired? Are you weak? Why is your leg paining? He said, don't worry. So we managed to go inside. He sat down. Then he told me, I just realized I have a condition and it's autoimmune. So being a doctor, he was able to diagnose himself based on the symptoms he was experiencing. So he started getting bloated. My husband is quite a lanky, skinny person. Started getting bloated, retaining water, started having fat pads around his neck. So I was like, what's going on? But I just felt like it was something that it was not going
Could
to
be
go. It was
manageable.
manageable.
Yeah.
And he was managing it just fine. Just like he added weight
Mm.
around that time. So we still went ahead. He got the money paid. He was happy. So we got married in March. We got married in March. Throughout the time, he kept pushing himself, working harder. And he started a building project in Ikberu, where he's from.
Nice one.
And it was on his dad's land, actually. He built a cold room, a water factory. The water factory is to produce bottled water and sachet water. So we're hustling, we're pushing. 2022, we gave all we had to that project. It was hundreds of millions of naira.
I can
Actually,
imagine. I can
we
imagine.
gave all to it. We're fighting to get our license. So in December 2022, we started the water factory. And then we left Obudu GRA where we stay and we moved there to start the water factory. So we'll be like, we'll come back to Lagos maybe once in a month, just relax at home, go back to Ikberu. We got there. It was a shock. It was like a culture shock. We met with all sorts of issues, lazy staff, a lot of diabolical stuff going on over there. And me being his wife, I'm not from there. My town is like 15 minutes away from my husband's town. But I didn't have an orientation about the kind of place we were situated.
Yeah, especially the fact that you didn't grow up there.
I didn't grow up there. I grew up in Lagos.
Yeah.
My husband is a Lagos boy. He's in the social club in Lagos. He's in the Igbeju social club. So, I mean, he kind of knew, but my husband is that person that will say, I don't wish anybody evil. Nobody can do me evil.
Oh yeah, that mindset.
That mindset of,
but then
there is jazz, but that jazz will not come to me because I don't wish anyone
but
evil.
then the thing is that you don't eat a lion doesn't mean the lion is not gonna eat you. That's life.
That phrase you just said to me just explains it all. And the fact that you're even breathing is a problem for some people.
It's a problem for some people.
So we got there, started the business, challenges here, challenges there. We bought vehicles. Our vehicles just suddenly break down.
Where was his family in all this? Yes.
So my husband has 2 elder sisters and a younger brother. And my husband's younger brother moved to Canada years before. He moved to Canada like 2018, 2019. I'm not sure which year precisely now, but the last time I saw my husband's brother before he traveled out of Nigeria was in 2018. That was the last time I saw my husband's brother, and that was before our wedding. So at our wedding, none of my husband's siblings was there. Not because they didn't want to be there, but because my husband had a difficult relationship with his siblings. So my husband is just one of these people that I'll have it my way or no other way. And I remember vividly when we got married, my husband's parents were there. And my husband's elder sister, Big Mommy as I call her, called her parents that day and said, let me speak to Bumi. I mean, yesterday was his wedding. Even if I wasn't there, let me congratulate him. And it was on speakerphone. Bumi, how are you doing? Congratulations. I'm happy for you. So, case in point, I have to make a reference. My husband has kids.
Okay.
Before we got married.
Okay.
2 of them live abroad.
Okay.
And one of his other kids is in Nigeria here, who was living with us. Okay. Before we got married.
What about their mother?
Their mothers were never in the picture.
Okay.
Only the mother of the other daughter, my stepdaughter, who was living with us. Okay. And I used to talk to her mom when she was living with us. We used to talk. And even now, if I call her, I don't have any animosity towards her.
There's a
because he was never married to any of their moms. Okay. He was never married to any of them. So, my husband he had a difficult relationship with his siblings. And because he had a difficult relationship with them, he reflected on my relationship with them as well.
Of course, it would spill out.
The only person I had spoken to from time we were dating to when we eventually got married was my husband's younger brother. And He was an amazing person to me. While he was abroad, would buy things, send to my husband, sent things for me, shoes, clothing, sent for my son. But with his elder sisters, you know how boys relate to their elder sisters. It can be really difficult, especially when you as a man, he's the first son and he's kind of heady. He's kind of
I
heady.
see where
He
that.
just will not take no for an answer. He
100%.
will just want to, you know, raise his shoulders to his elder sisters, despite the age difference. He will just want to, he will just not agree. I'm the first son, I'm the first son, I'm the head
And
of the
this is
family.
it. This
And that
goes.
is, and what I say should be word and law. I mean, as an elder sister, I have a younger brother. We have an amazing relationship. My brother is always there for me, especially now that I'm widowed.
Yeah.
He's always there, trying to be a figure for my son and trying to be there for me. And I look at it like, if I were in their shoes, my husband's elder sister's shoes, I would also react that way. Like, my brother has been disrespectful to me. He's making the relationship hard.
Seems difficult.
So I would react exactly the way he reacted. So they kind of pulled back from him, like, what, just do you. We will do us. So their dad passed in December 2022, just when we moved outside Lagos. And then there was chaos. As usual, is my way or no other way? Is my way or no other way? His sisters were, they were not happy about how he was
Handling things.
And in my language, in Yoruba language, they'll say, a matter can be yours and you will not be able to judge it appropriately. If you are not judging it appropriately, your conscience is judging you.
True.
So even if you are saying one thing which is wrong, your conscience is telling you what's right.
Yeah, just try this.
And I know throughout that time, I used to read their chats, the group chats they had, the conversations, how they were, trying to make headway. And my husband would be like, no, I'm the first son. It's what I say that should be done. And they're like, no, we're four. We're all supposed to have our input together, And at some point, he said he was going to go ahead and do it by himself. So in 2023, May, my father-in-law was buried in Ikberu, where we were staying. It was, none of them came, and I do not blame them at all. I'm not even qualified to blame them because this is a sibling issue.
Yes.
And nobody can know siblings better than siblings themselves. They all grew up together.
Absolutely.
These are people who have seen each other from young, who have been able to decipher each other's characters. And they say, okay, you know what? If you want to do this by yourself, go ahead and do this.
Yeah.
They had their own burial arrangements. So my husband's immediate elder sister is in the US. Okay. She had a burial service in the US. And the big mommy, that's my husband's older sister, also had a service in Canada. Now, he was buried May 16th with family. And so family kind of had that anger towards my husband. Why is he not allowing his siblings come? But guess what? There were some family members who were playing both sides.
But of course,
some people were telling my husband, yes, you are the first son, what you're doing is right. And then they will still go behind to my husband's siblings and tell them, no, what Bumi is doing is wrong. Why would he be doing that? Why would he not listen to us? They were playing both sides.
This dynamics in African families is something I will never be able to make sense of. And I think it happens almost in every African family. I don't know why we are not honest. We just can't be straightforward, especially when it has to do with a case of life and death. This is literally life and death.
So, I mean, they were playing both sides, and my husband's siblings could not see because they are not in Nigeria. They couldn't see all that was happening.
He should have been in the best place to look at it objectively and be like, okay, these people are outsiders. This is between me and my siblings.
So my husband's siblings were unhappy about it. They have a big family group, a family WhatsApp group where the other cousins and all are in there. It's a very big family. So, and those people, would go, because they have my husband's siblings' number, would go behind the back say something to them, tell them this is how you should do it with Bumi, and then they will come to my husband and still say something else.
Oh God, that annoys me.
Anyways, fast forward to May 30th, my husband said he wanted to go get fuel. And that was when the current president just came into power, and fuel skyrocketed from
fuel
180
prices went
something
up.
to 500 and something. So he called my brother and said, how far? How much is, my brother lives in Ibadan, how much is fuel currently? And then he said, oh, fuel is still about 200 and something. So because we're running a factory, my husband said, I need about 200 liters. Buy me fuel down. I'll come pick it. So my husband woke me up around 5 a.m. He said, darling, I'm going to Ibadan. I should be in Ibadan in like an hour because Ibadan to Ibadan is like an hour, give or take. I should be back in 3 hours. So let's say between 5, I should be back by 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock, I was preparing to go do my distribution of water to our suppliers. So my husband was coming into town. He was driving on one side. I was driving out
On the other side.
on the other side. So I saw my husband, and my husband saw my own boss. My driver was driving the bus. My husband's driver was driving him. So I saw him, and he told his driver to park. His driver parked. I told my driver park. So I crossed over to the other side, and I went to meet him, and was like, I just saw his face. I'm like, are you okay? He was like, I'm feeling weak. I'm feeling tired. I'm like, okay. Don't worry, let me just go and distribute water. Let me just do this first morning round. Then my staff will take over. I went and said, okay, don't be long. Just come back home so I can make me something to eat and use my drugs. At about past 10, on that 30th of May, my staff called me in the morning and was like, Ma, doctor, the way he's lying down, the way he's breathing, he's not, I don't think he's doing good. And take note, all the while he was sick and managing this autoimmune disease, one of the side effects of these drugs that he was taking, he was taking is rage.
Oh my God.
Anger.
Oh my God.
Take notes, it also causes erectile dysfunction. So there were times when 3-4 months there will be nothing intimacy between me and my husband because he was dealing with this condition. And things that I later opened up to Big Mommy. I told her, these are things I was dealing with. I was dealing with rage. You were hearing rage on the phone. I was dealing with physical rage at home. Sometimes my husband will say so hurtful words, just when he's angry and just boiling. I'll be like, this is not the man I married. This is not you. But I was managing all of those things at the time. I, as the wife, his siblings probably be wondering, can his wife not talk to him? Can his wife not make him see reasons why what he's doing is not right? But they did not even understand that I was facing a huge battle.
A battle on your
at the
front.
time, and then I could not even tell anybody about it. I couldn't tell my mom. I couldn't tell my sisters. My mom just knew that he was gaining weight rapidly, and then he would suddenly lose weight. He would gain rapid weight, and all of a sudden he's lost to my. Be like, no, it's not possible for somebody who's added like 30 kg in like 2 months.
And just now his
to just lose like 45 kg. The weight fluctuation was crazy. So that day I came back, they called me, I came back, it was like, I'm not feeling well. I don't know why I'm having difficulty breathing. I said, maybe because you stressed yourself. I said, what would you like to just make me tea first? I made him tea, drank tea, took his medication. Later on, he woke up, and his mom, because he just finished his father's burial, his mom was still with us in Ikbero. Grandma stays in Lagos in her husband's house. So he woke up that afternoon, make me amala. Maybe when I eat something, I'll feel better. He ate the amala, he didn't eat it well. Something is not going right. So that day passed. The next day, which was May 31st, his condition worsened. The breathing, so you could now see physically that he was having difficulty breathing. You're having difficulty
at this
breathing.
point, had his church come in to maybe like intercede on prayers or maybe come for fasting, playground?
We had been doing stuff like that. Okay. So he has a spiritual father. And the last time the man saw him, it was in beginning of May, before his dad's burial, he came to Lagos and invited them. He told me, I was sitting in the car. So at some point they told me to leave the car and wind up the windows and come sit. That he's gonna be a while. This pastor told him that he could see something like death.
Hmm.
He said we need to do like a redemption prayer for you. In Yoruba it's called Irapada.
Okay.
So we need to do a redemption prayer for you. I'm seeing death over you. I'm seeing death over you. I'm seeing like a spirit following you. So I said, why not do it?
Mm-hmm.
So he did that. And I thought all was well. So the next day being May 31st, there was difficulty breathing. It's difficulty breathing. So in the morning, I made him pap. I gave him pap to drink because when you're not feeling so well, those either
Yeah.
pap or something that is not so
Light.
heavy.
Yeah.
Light.
Just basically light food.
He took it. Was he having difficulty breathing? Then in the afternoon, he called his manager and said, go and buy me. He asked for some drugs that asthmatic people use. So he felt like it was maybe like an asthmatic attack. He went. I still have the phone conversation of him talking to, because I've been making a video with my son. So I still have that video recording. I was showing myself and my son in the video, but I was hearing his voice
In the background.
telling the manager, buy this. Okay, they said they don't have that. Okay, buy this and buy this for me and buy this. So
During all this time, was he self-diagnosing or he was actually seeing a doctor?
he wasn't seeing a doctor.
Why?
He diagnosed himself and he was treating himself.
Why?
And okay, funny backstory. My husband delivered our son. They say doctors don't treat their family members or anything.
That's what I'm trying to.
But my husband actually delivered my son, and I'm thankful he delivered my son because the doctor on duty could have made a lot of mistakes that day.
Okay.
When I had my baby, the doctor there wanted to force out the placenta.
Whoa.
She was assisting him on duty. So maybe my son came out, he just clamped the cord, was attending to my son. And then the other lady doctor on duty was trying to bring out the placenta, and I was having pain. So I was like, take it easy. So my husband had was like, what's going on? And she was like, I'm trying to bring the placenta out. And I was like, no, are you going to kill her? Placenta detaches itself and is birthed. If you yank it out, she'll bleed to death.
Pull something, yeah.
She'll bleed to death. So I had COVID in 2020.
Oh my God.
My husband treated me. I was never in isolation. And I had COVID in the heat of COVID. That was towards the end of March, April 2020. I had COVID. My husband treated me. And he never had COVID, even being in serious contact with somebody that had COVID.
I think I'm understanding his personality. It's making sense.
Do you understand?
Yes.
So he didn't see a need to see any doctor. He didn't see a need. He was diagnosing himself, and that showed when he was admitted into the hospital. So May 31st, the condition got worse. And then we had, okay, so another backstory. We had some customers who were owing us money. So a week prior, we had gone out to, collect those debts. And one of the customers owing us, said she didn't have any money. She doesn't have, and I was like, no, you have collected these goods. We can't even see the goods in your shop anymore.
That means you've sold.
That means you sold it, so pay for
money,
it.
Yes.
She was like, no, we should supply another one, then she will pay. And he was like, no, I need that money now. So my husband stood his ground. And guess what? She actually produced some of the money, like half of the money. And my husband said, I'm going to come back in like 3 days to get the money. So before the end of 3 days was when he fell sick.
Oh.
So on that day, that May 31st, while he was on the bed, he was sleeping in the afternoon. So he said, make me pepper soup. So while he said, make me catfish pepper soup, he dozed off. While he dozed off, he woke up later when the food was ready, and I woke him up. He said, darling, I had a dream. And in this dream, I saw the woman that we went to ask for money from telling me that, oh, you want to collect your money, Abby? You really want to collect that money? Okay, let me see how you will collect it.
For real, for real.
He woke up and told me. And he said, you see why sometimes his life is not good to do good. What have we done wrong to this woman now? That I'm seeing her in my dream telling me that you want to really collect this money. And the money we're talking about is about 36,000 naira. So she gave us 18,000 and told us to come back for 18,000 naira. And that's where the issue started. I mean, he had his own underlying health issues, but that's not something to joke with. When you see
Yes.
somebody in your
It's
dream
not.
challenging you.
It's not.
So his health deteriorated that day. And at night, I saw the way he was breathing. I wasn't okay with it anymore. It was like, I don't want to eat anything. Let me just drink fluids, liquid. So there's a light in our bedroom, just like a chandelier like this. But the chandelier has a speaker,
Okay.
an inbuilt speaker. So I just turned on my YouTube and I connected Apostle Selman prayer, against, prayer. It was a serious prayer. Do you understand?
Okay.
So we got into it, and I put his pillow beside myself. I put my head on his pillow so as to check his breathing, and we kept saying amen, 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 amen until he slept off. Around 1 a.m., we finally slept at 12. Around 1 a.m., he woke me up, and then he just said, take me to the hospital. I can't breathe well again. So we went to the hospital. Went to the first hospital, Rufina Hospital on Ikperu to Elisha Road. They said the doctor is not on duty, we can't attend to him.
Basimbok, Nigerian health system.
At 1 a.m. And he walked to the car by himself. So from there, when they rejected us and said, I think he was still talking, he was like, I want to see the doctor. Like, doctor is not on duty, we cannot take you in. From there, we went straight to Babcock Teaching Hospital. We got to Babcock Teaching Hospital. They said there's no bed space.
And I'm first one, no doctor. Second one, no bed space. Where are we going with the health system in Nigeria? Where?
And Babcock is even a private owned, it's church owned, so it's private.
Yeah, I know.
I told them, you are going to have a bed space because this is a medical doctor. He's your colleague, and we are not going anywhere. So when they saw my stance, they were like, okay, let's create a bed space. They created a bed space. They admitted us into accident and emergency. So when we got there, he spoke to the doctor. He told them, my name is Dr. Onayeko. I'm so years old, and I'm having difficulty breathing. And the doctor said, okay, nice to meet you, sir. My name is Dr. So I'm going to. So my doctor said, I'd like you to give me an injection. I can't remember the name of that injection right now. I said, I'm having difficulty like sleeping. I know I want my brain to shut down for a while and rest. So he told the doctor, okay, no problem. The doctor said, okay, I'll give you that injection. The doctor gave him 10 milligrams of that injection. So at that time, it was on oxygen. They had told me, pay for oxygen, you need to make a deposit.
Yeah, all that.
I did all of that around 2 a.m., 2:30. Time was going. I'd called my mom. Mommy, doctor is in the hospital. She said, doctor, hospital. He has never been in the hospital since you've known him. What is going on? My mom was just, calling me back and forth. Is it stable now? I said, they are giving him oxygen. She said, oxygen. Why? I said, he can't breathe well on his own. So from that time, he now called the doctor again. He said, this injection is not giving me the effect I want. Can you give me this injection again? And they gave him 10 milligrams of that injection again. And the doctor on duty, he was respecting a senior colleague.
Yes, absolutely.
Ideally, he should have said and stood his ground. No, you cannot take more than 10.
Do his job.
You cannot take more than 10 milligrams of this injection per time. The day they gave him the second injection, he went into partial coma. And that was it. From May 31st, we had entered into June 1st, 2023. He was just going in and out of comas. I still have the videos. They are traumatic, but I just like to go back to those videos and ask myself, could I have done something better? Would I have done something different at this time? Is there a prayer I should have prayed? Is there something I should have said? We started the battle for his life. He was going in and out of coma. I called his family friends. They are twins. They grew up together from secondary school, and they really love him. They were standing in gap as his sisters. So they were in Lagos. Immediately I called them. One of them works in VI and lives in Ikorodu. Her twin sister also lives in Ikorodu. She left VI, went home to Ikorodu, picked her sister up, and they took a vehicle coming straight to Ogun State. Okay. So immediately they got in fact, the whole hospital knew that some prayer warriors had entered. Yeah. They were just kaboshing and speaking in tongues, praying on him, laying mantles. Even the doctors came and said, madam, the noise is too much. They're like, They didn't even answer. They were just praying. By 8 p.m. that day, doctors had been coming and going, an anesthesiologist came. I said, "Hello, madam, I'm an anesthesiologist. And I need to tell you at this point that your husband needs to go into the ICU. He can no longer stay here at emergency." I'm like, ICU. So I know what ICU is, intensive care unit. I'm like, if he needs to go into ICU, let's go.
Oh, yeah.
Like, no, madam, you need to make a deposit of ₦1 million before we go to ICU. At that point, we had just celebrated my father-in-law's burial less than 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So funds were
low.
And throughout that day, my mom came in the morning on that June 1st. Throughout that day, we had spent over 250,000 naira in just one day in emergency.
I know it is.
So now that day, let me now tell you how my husband's siblings got to know. I called my husband's aunt. Her husband is late too. I'm like, my husband is in the hospital. She was like, Dami, call your husband's siblings now.
Yes,
I'm like,
they needed to know.
I can't call them. They are not happy with him. They didn't come for their dad's burial. And you are telling me to call them. With which mouth will I tell them that Bumi is sick? She said, but call them.
You have to, yeah.
Call them for your own good. I did not answer. I was running up and down, trying to do this test and that test and that test. Middle of the day on that June 1st, before the ICU thing happened in the evening, my husband's elder sister called me. Big mommy called me and said, Dami, how are you? How are you doing? So, that's my husband's aunt, just called me and said, Bumi is in the hospital. What is wrong with him? I said, he's not breathing well, man. He's not breathing fine, man. She said, does he have any underlying health conditions? I said, yes. She said, what's the condition? I said, it's polymyalgia rheumatica. She was like, can you call it slowly? I said, okay, let me spell it, ma. I called it. I think I spelled it to her. She's a barrister. She's very well learned. And she was like, okay, I will Google this condition.
Yeah.
And I'll get back to you. So by the way, while you're in the hospital, I'm going to send you some money now. And this is somebody my husband has been fighting, angry with, wasn't listening, wasn't seeing reasons with her.
Yeah.
But she heard her brother was sick and
she came through.
She came through immediately, sent her some money. So it was the money she sent to me that day that I sent. I paid as a deposit for him to go into ICU.
Into the ICU.
So I went into ICU. At first, I even thought it was getting better. But the first day he got into ICU, he was still peeing. And then all of a sudden, he stopped peeing. There was no urination of any sort. So imagine you being dosed with drips, injections,
and somehow
fluids.
The fluid is not coming out.
And it's not coming out.
It's not coming out.
And it starts to bloat again. I'm like, what's going on? And this doctor will come. Okay, madam, we just did a test of his blood sugar. His blood sugar is shooting through the roof. We are reading 300 and something. I'm like, what? Yes.
In all this, did you guys get to know the exact cause of this condition?
We didn't get to know. Autoimmune doesn't tell you this is the cause. Autoimmune can be hereditary. It can be passed from one generation to another. Yeah. But my father-in-law passed at a good old age of 84.
I mean, so he was just...
and he managed his health well. So why is my husband having... They said he was being diabetic, and his diabetic level, the sugar level is shooting through the roof. They said he's having sepsis of the blood. Sepsis is an infection in the blood. Then there's hypoglycemia. All of these things were just popping up from popping.
It's really sad. Now, take us through the part where he passed. What happened from there on? How did life now change for you?
So he passed on June 17th, which is in a couple of days from now.
Oh, it will be his remembrance.
Yeah, his second year remembrance. So that morning, I had been sleeping in my car for 2 weeks. I didn't sleep at home. I was just always in my car. I was running around for blood every single day. He was taking blood. Sometimes he was taking it and was just coming right back out. I'm like, what's going on? So that morning, I was called at 6:45 a.m. I was in my car. So I have their number saved. So when they want me to buy things for him, maybe beddings, underlay,
Yeah.
drugs, injections. So they called me at 6:45. And when they woke me up, I was like, I see you. 6:45 a.m. Something has happened to me. That's just what I said in my head. I'm like, something has happened to me. 6:45. These people have never called me at 6:45 in the past 2 weeks plus that I've been here. So I went upstairs. And when I was trying to climb upstairs, my legs wouldn't carry me. I was like, why?
Your spirit could already feel it.
And what happened was I slept over in the ICU that night. They don't allow people to sleep in the ICU. I laid on the bare floor tiles. And I prayed. I think I slept off sometime around past 2 because I still checked my time before I slept off. So a cold breeze woke me up at like 5 a.m. So I stood up and I just popped in. I checked him and I saw the
Monitor.
machine, the life support he was on, making that. So if you watch a lot of medical series, I know you will know that sound, that beeping sound that there's still life.
There's life.
I was still hearing that sound as of when that breeze woke me up at 5 a.m. and I went to sleep in my car because I forgot. I slept off praying. That had never happened. They left me in the ICU. So I got back upstairs and I just looked at him. Nothing had changed. So when somebody is lying down, the breathing, you'll be heaving.
Yeah.
Your chest will be rising and falling. So I didn't even know that was just the life support pumping air
into him. Trying to resuscitate him.
Not resuscitating him, it was just helping him to breathe.
Helping him
He
to breathe.
himself had gone.
Oh my God.
So they could not even take off the machine until I gave my okay.
Instruction.
Because you pay for it every day. And we're paying about 700K or so per day to keep him on that life support machine. So I got in. They said, but I'm coming. I came in. The doctor was just there scribbling something, writing. So I was with his phones, my phones, the car key. And I remember vividly, I'll just look at him and look at the doctor. I'm like, what is this one writing? Does this one want to go and buy plenty injections again? I'm already running low on money. These people should just pity me. And he just finished writing and dropped the thing on the table. And he looked at me and said, Madam, the worst has happened. He's gone. I'm like,
gone to yeah.
I said, what do you mean by the worst has happened? I had to ask again, what do you mean by the worst has happened? He said, yeah, the worst has happened. He's gone. And it was just like my world stopped. From that point, it felt like I was breathing, but I was not breathing. It felt like I was walking, but maybe I was walking on air. It couldn't have been on normal grounds. And I just went to him and I kept telling him, you have to wake up. Because if you don't wake up, I'm in trouble. I'm in trouble. I would have to explain what I cannot explain. From 6:50 thereabouts, when he broke that news to me, I was at his side till like past 11 in the morning. And I was just like, doctor, you have to wake up. Doctor, you have to wake up. You have to wake up. You can't leave me. You promised my son you would teach him how to drive. You have to wake up. You have to wake up. And then I think at that point, I called my husband's, that's Big Mommy. I called. I'm like, Big Mommy, come and wake your brother. Oh, come and wake your brother. And she was like, oh, wow. And she just went off the phone. Because she was having a hard time also, dealing with hearing that news. I called Big Mommy. That's the only person I called. I called his partner, who was at his partner at a private jet company. I was like, Uncle Ima, come and wake your brother out. Come and wake your brother out. Come and wake your brother out. And he was like, oh my God, no. Don't tell me doctor is gone. Don't tell me doctor is gone. And from that part, it just went downhill. And that day, it just felt like I wasn't going to make it. I just felt like I was not going to make it. I just felt like I was not going to make it. There's no way I'm going to make it without my husband. At that time, I had not seen my son in 2 weeks. just called my mom, just bring my son, just bring my son, just bring my son. Doctor is gone, doctor is gone. And he took my dad's elder sister at around like 11:40 in the morning to drag me away from his side. I didn't know these nurses. She's like, Madam, you've tried. I'm like, no, I didn't try hard enough. I didn't try hard enough. I didn't pray hard enough. I mean, what am I going to tell the world? Losing my husband at 32.
You had to do all this within your 20s to your early 30s. Sorry.
So, because my husband's siblings were not around, his cousins came over. Now, all of these people had not come in 2 weeks that this man had been in the hospital. None of them came. They heard he was sick. And from there, one of my husband's cousins, everybody was just telling me, you have to go home now. Please take her home. Please take her home. I was hysterical. I'm like, no, I didn't bring this man walked in here by himself. How am I going home without him? One of my husband's cousins came in from Ilori. He was like, you need to be strong now. I know you're broken, I know you're sad, but you need to really be strong now. So we went home, and I think somebody signed my husband's body into the morgue. And then he's gone now.
It's gone.
There's nothing else to do. There were bills to pay, bills to be sorted. We had millions to still pay at the time he died.
Hospital.
At the hospital. He had been on life support, and life support is really expensive. So at that point, the burial preparations started. And then things like he should be buried in the cemetery, he should not be buried at home. And now I didn't let you know that my husband had just slept 2 weeks in the house we built in that factory compound. He had suffered to make sure that for his dad's burial there will be a proper house that guests and all can come and see that, his mom had to be able to stay in a comfortable place. Now,
only for him to only stay 2 weeks in it.
2 weeks in the house, which was from the day of his dad's funeral, which was May 15th. We packed into the house May 15th. Funeral was May 16th. And he passed, and the last night he slept in the house was May 31st, which he woke up in the middle of the night and said, I'm not breathing well, take me to the hospital.
What amazes me is how he was in so much pain and still wanting to deal with all these things by himself and not wanting to, make peace with his siblings and, just...
He felt like he had a lot of time. He felt like he could manage it. He felt like, and one thing his sisters prayed for, the night before he passed, I slept over in the ICU. They both prayed for him. They both prayed and said, Pumi, you will make it. Oh. This our fight has ended. You will make it. You are going to come pick us up. I remember Big Mommy said, you will come pick me up at the airport when I come back to Nigeria. I need you to make it. I need you to make it. And I know very well he was hearing her. He turned his eyes. He was very weak at points, but he rolled his eyes and he turned like to where the phone was by his ear, because Big Mom was like, put a phone in his ears, let him hear me. Mummy, you have to come pick me. Oh, you have to come pick me when I come back to Nigeria. And sadly, he didn't get that chance. And the one thing I wished for him the most was to have made peace with his sisters. I really wish he made it, because I know he would have been changed, totally changed. And so it was time for my husband to be buried, and the person who signed my husband in, his cousin, I told them at the morgue not to release his body.
Because of what?
I mean, this person was not there when I was fighting for his life. When I bought 17 bags of blood, fresh blood, I wasn't buying banked blood, because the hospital said it could not take banked blood. He had to be fresh blood. He wasn't there when I was fighting. He never came. He was 500 naira keke away from the hospital. Wait, oh, that's the highest.
And
To
now
and fro,
somehow
and he never came.
And now
But
somehow he was giving instructions for the body not to be released.
for the body not to be
And what were
released.
his reasons?
I cannot even say. He just said that he's the one signing in the body, and he's the only one that can sign his body out. You have zero plans about how this man will be buried. You have zero plans about how the balance at the hospital will be paid in millions. You have nothing to say, but you only have to say that he should not be buried. Because the day my husband passed, after he left the hospital, then they came into the compound, which I told Big Mommy, I told my husband's siblings, I said, he walked into the compound, and the first thing he said, he saw my manager, he said, go and bring the keys to the factory. I am the one coming to inherit this place.
That's what his cousin said.
Yes.
Okay, let me jog back a little. During the time when doctor was battling all this, and he knew he was battling all this, and he knew there was no cure, did he pause at some point to think of, okay, let me make plans for when I'm not here, maybe get a lawyer, maybe do a will?
He had a lawyer, but he never did a will. He had a lawyer.
Did you ever ask why?
But he never made a will.
Did you try to have that conversation with him?
So bad so that, Maggie, my husband has a house in Jos. Till tomorrow. I don't know where that house is. When my husband passed, I saw the text message of the buyer and the text message of the agent, who is a reverend father. And the reverend father texted my husband and said, Doc, pick your call. Your house in Jos, somebody is ready to buy it now. The buyer now texted my husband, this is Isiak something. I'm the buyer for the house. Please pick your call. When my husband passed, I called the Isiak guy. I said, you're the one that wants to buy the house in Jos. He said, yes, the house that belongs to doctor. Then I called the agent. I said, please, I want to come to Jos to see my husband's house. And the man said, madam, if you're not bringing any house documents to me, don't bother coming. I don't have any house to show you. I had no idea. I had no idea. In fact, one of his friends got me a lawyer in Jos, called the agent and said, I am doctor's lawyer. And he told us that you are his agent. You know where the house is. By law, you are required to take us there. But when we don't even know what this man looks like physically, the man, I have the text message on my phone. He said, please know that you cannot come to me without the documents of this house. Of course. I'm not going to take you anywhere. So it was just an opportunity.
Did doctor ever tell anybody where this house documents were? Nothing. Nobody was aware.
If he kept it in the bank, if he kept it with people, if he kept it with somebody, I don't
know. If he had a vote,
I don't know.
No whatsoever.
And I think my husband just kind of believed that in time, she would know all these things. In time, I will let her know. So till tomorrow, the house is there. The buyer was like, I'm ready to cooperate with you. But if the agent says there's nothing you are coming to. In fact, they booked me a flight ticket. My husband's friend booked me a flight ticket to Jos. The lawyer was involved. Then the lawyer said, look, madam, we don't want to step into, we don't want to step onto wrong soil with this kind of thing. We don't know how far this man would go.
Yeah.
And guess what? A friend of mine had a dream, not knowing that I was planning to go to Jos, and called me and said, I don't know what, but I saw you in a dream. Somebody blindfolded you, and somebody held you on the right and on the left, and they were dragging you into the bush. I need you to just pray. And then I told my mom, I'm like, this person said this, and the lawyer and the agent is saying that I should not bother coming if I don't have the documents of the house. What do I do? My mom said, you have to leave it alone. I can't follow you to Jos. That's extra money for flight. So if I cannot follow you, what do I know will happen when you go? I don't want you to risk your life because you're trying to fight for property.
I mean, it's a very delicate and complicated situation. Now, how did you now turn out with your husband's body? How did the funeral get? Did you later release it?
So my husband's immediate elder sister, mommy in America, immediately the guy sees, I just called her. I'm like, Let me just tell them because I don't even know what to do anymore. I was grieving. I was dealing with a lot of moving parts at
Of
the time.
course.
So I told her, I'm like, Mommy, this your cousin, so and so, has told them at the morgue not to release the body to me. What do I do? She told them not to release the body. And we're supposed to have a church service. She just called him. She placed on like a three-way call, and she added the guy's elder sister to the call too and said, "Why are you seizing Bumi's body in the morgue? What is your own with his body? He's to be buried, but you feel like because maybe his younger brother is not around, you want to take over what's going on, and you cannot do that. You cannot. You don't have a right. So go back to that place and tell them that tomorrow, that was a day before funeral. Go back and tell them that you are removing your hands. You are not even the right person that should have signed."
Of course.
It was mad at me. It was angry that why would I call my sister-in-law to tell her and not call him directly? I'm like, since my husband passed and you came here to tell them to give you keys to the house. You have not come back here. And that happened
That
on
he'll
a
be the one to
Saturday.
inherit the
You inherit the
house.
house. That happened on a Saturday. We buried him on Thursday. Till that day, Wednesday, when my sister-in-law called him, he had not come to the house to say, "How are you?" Yet he had been calling my brother-in-law to say that they should handle me well and collect my husband's properties from me. They should not allow me to take over. They should not, as if anybody is going to leave this earth with anything they came with. They
And
built
this
or got
particular
themselves.
cousin was in the town.
He was in that town. He lives in that town.
He lives in that town. And he had not had like any personal business with your husband. He wasn't there when the
No, he
husband
was
was
always
sick.
coming to my husband to beg for money, but when my husband was sick, he never showed up. He never came.
Is this what they call village people? Because
maybe he never came. He never ever came at any point.
And then now he's showing up to say they should lock the house.
Trust
They
me,
should handle you
he
well.
did even worse unprintable things, unspeakable things that if I tell you, you just drop your jaw and you will not be able to close your mouth. He did that, and I told my husband's siblings that this uncle did this to your brother.
In 2025.
I'm like, okay, I'm taking everything in good stride. So eventually we had the burial. And he was buried at home where I wanted it. Because I was like, my son is just, at the time his father passed, was 1 year and 6 months. I said, this boy should be able to come to his father's grave at any time, at any age. He may not understand that his father has passed,
someday.
but I don't want him to have to walk through multitudes of bodies to see
his father.
where his father is laid to rest.
Dami, let's catch a break and we will be right back. Thank you. So Dami, tell me, I understand that all this has happened, and these things have a way of wanting to reshape how you see life and how you see the world. And for one thing is that you were a very young wife and then a young widow. How did life change for you? How have you been able to move on from there? What have you done with your life so far and your son?
So I would say it was a root shock. And I got even more root shocks from people, the way they handled it. I got a lot of support from my family, my dad, my mom. They were always there for me. Having to run his business, the factory, after he passed was really difficult. And I remember Big Mommy kept
with people that are saying, we'll come and take it, we'll come and inherit this belongs to us. You can just...
He actually even put spies around. And I kept telling Big Mommy everything he was doing. Big Mommy was like, is this guy this desperate? Because there's a scripture of Bible that says, Exodus 14:14, that says, "My battle is the Lord's. The Lord will fight for me, and I shall hold my peace." And I would say God actually fought for me, especially with that particular person. He did everything he could to turn my husband's siblings against me, and he failed. He failed woefully. And I didn't expect that my husband's siblings, who he had been at loggerheads with throughout that time. Imagine, it was just immediately after they had a very bitter taste in their mouth from the things that he did.
Yeah.
Would now still be the one to support while he was alive in the hospital. Immediately he passed, they supported heavily for his funeral. when extended family was saying he should not have a church service, his brother, big mommy, they were like, oh, because it's a family church.
Why shouldn't he have a church service?
I don't.
Were they Muslims?
They were Christians. They had a family church which was Methodist. They were like, no, he would have, like a church service invariably. So the extended family, not my husband's siblings, because they were too devastated by what had happened. I mean, they say blood is thicker than water, and
Of
that's when you will
course.
actually know that blood
always is,
thicker
yes.
than water. My husband's brother kept asking me, what's the reason why these people are telling the reverend not to hold a church service for him?
They're in the best place to tell
And
you,
I remember
because those
vividly,
are their uncles and cousins.
I remember vividly my husband's brother said he will have a church service his body will enter the church in Jesus' name. That's what he said. His body will enter the church in Jesus' name. And he said, you need to know all the things they've said to me about you and how they want me to treat you. He said, but that's not going to happen. But above all, they have been supportive, amazing. My son doesn't even know his dad is late because my husband's younger brother looks exactly like my husband. So every time when he saw my brother-in-law in December, he thought that was his dad. So he was calling him Daddy OJ, Daddy OJ. So he calls me Mommy OJ, he calls me Mommy, or he says Mommy OJ. So he saw his dad's brother and he said Daddy OJ, and he said, yes, I'm Daddy OJ. He's been so kind, checks up on us. Big mommy, all my husband's siblings have done their very best in ensuring that I'm able to transition in the best way they can. And also, I'm also having at the back of my mind that they're also dealing with pain.
Of course.
Losing their dad and losing their brother at the same time.
And they would be wishing, what would we have done differently? Could we have, taken certain actions to make sure that, we made peace and do some things right while he was alive? I know all those kind of things. And, these things happen in family, like I said, family dynamics in Africa. And one thing that I always emphasize in the siblings, the nuclear family have to be very wary, because the extended family dynamic is crazy.
It's crazy.
I don't know what all that is about.
It's ironic that my father-in-law and my husband are birthday mates. They're both April 19th. My father-in-law is April 19th. My husband is also April 19th. And they were both two huge personalities. They were both huge personalities.
Your husband was something.
And they were both very involved in their family, extended family especially. So I felt that was why the family felt that they had a say over one. I remember very well what they said to me on the day my husband died. His cousin said to me, we want you to know that it's the family that owns the dead body. In Yoruba, he said, family lolo cool. And I said, oh, when he was in the hospital, he was fighting for his life. Family colony, it was him and his siblings. They didn't come. Yeah. His siblings were sending money, trying to make sure he got better, because they didn't see it as it was a sickness that was unto death. And after that, I was very depressed. Big mommy would always call me, are you sure you can stay in that place? This is a place you live with your husband. Are you sure you can stay in that place? Like, mommy, I'll stay, I'll be fine. I dealt with so much. Physically, spiritually, I dealt with a lot.
I can imagine.
At some point, one night, somebody brought sacrifice to the front of our house around 10 p.m. And just as
what else are they looking for?
My manager was going out, he saw the person dropping the sacrifice. The bike was running, and then because the guy just tried to pick a stick, and the guy had to carry the sacrifice and bring it back home. And then I found out about a foundation on social media called the Patrick Stephen Purple Heart Foundation. It's run by Seun Fumijo and Stephen. And it's a foundation committed to helping widows deal with life after their spouses. So Patrick Stephen is late. The person called Patrick Stephen is late. So his wife, Seun Fumijo and Stephen runs that foundation, pays school fees for widows, does a drive for widows, date a widow. She has a program called Date a Widow. Every month, she takes a widow out on a date, tries to, because if your husband was alive, you probably
Encourage you,
have
yeah.
encourage her.
And for young widows like yourself, it would be very difficult. I mean, you had to stay through, during the sickness, and like you said, it caused a whole lot of
I
issues,
was a
and
shadow of
there
myself.
were no intimacy for a long
Long
time.
time.
And then this man dies. It will really take a lot having to like reintegrate yourself back, and not forgetting that the family dynamics, that their eyes are on you, like, let's see what she'll start doing now. Will she
Exactly.
start talking to man? Will man start talking? In short, if you greet somebody,
It's a problem.
it's a problem. So I can imagine how, Dami, you are a survivor, you are a strong woman, you are a woman. I think the essence of a woman itself, sometimes we underplay it to, being weak and fragile, and there's a Harvard statistics that show that women are more likely to stay with their sick spouses than men are more likely to stay with their sick
Absolutely. Absolutely.
spouses.
And the way you treat your
It's
wife when
true.
you are healthy will be a reflection of how she will treat you when
Treat
you
you
are
when you're
sick.
sick. So it's something that it's very commendable, and you've carried it so well, you've managed it so well,
Hmm.
not just for your sake but for the sake of your son. You're still a young woman with way, in short, most of your age mates are probably still single,
Definitely.
and they're just starting life, and you've
I
had
know.
to deal with all this and come to this point. Me saying I'm impressed is an understatement, but I'll go back to,
Thank
to
you.
saying you are a woman.
Thank you.
But I mean, like I would say to you, and I'll say to every young woman out there, it's okay to know that you cannot do it all by yourself. And you don't have to. You always have to talk to somebody, you have to seek out a community. You should also take care of yourself. You should know that you are human before you are woman. Even though it's been laid, like nature has laid the responsibility on us to be the ones to take care of everybody and still not have a personal life per se. But just know that you are human and you deserve to be happy after all that sadness, after all that trauma, after all that. It is hard, but you will pull through it. Look at Dami, for example. When I ran into Dami some weeks ago, I was short of words. I was short of words. She still makes the most amazing fragrances I've ever perceived
Thank
in my
you.
life.
Thank
And I wish
you.
you had some here so that would show our audience. But
Absolutely.
next time we have to bring it on, so that we
Definitely.
show. So
Definitely.
if for your house, your cars, your business spaces, this is the plug. Just send me hi in the DM, and Dami will supply, whether you want wholesale or retail, whichever quantity. And the beautiful part, she produces them herself. And
Yes.
this is another point I want to push. You losing your husband as a young woman is not the end of your life. There was something very striking about Dami's story. She was ambitious. Even with her husband, with all he had, she was still managing the business with him, doing the business with him, and also running her own business. Your life doesn't have to stop that your husband dies and business is stalling and all that. Do something for yourself, learn a skill, put yourself out there. I met Dami again, like we reunited when she was somewhere marketing her products. That was
Absolutely.
how we saw.
Yes, yes,
She
that's
actually
how we
came to
saw.
me, yeah,
And
to speak
trust
about her
me, that
health
has opened
ambition
even
and
opportunities for me.
exactly
Just marketing my
just
product,
marketing her
people
product.
always ask for more.
More, put yourself out there. Life shouldn't begin and end with a marriage. I know that's what the society wants us to believe. I know that's how they want to condition. In short, there are societies in Nigeria, in Eastern Nigeria, that once your husband dies, they will put you inside the house and lock you, like literally
Yes.
lock you in
Your,
there.
your your world kind of stops
Your
and you
world
are at their beck
stops.
and
You are
call.
at their mercy.
But I've had amazing support from my husband's siblings. Big mommy pushes my business. I just did a sale. She's always putting my business
I'm
out
so happy
there.
for you.
The love is real for them, from them, and it's not even biased at
Faking.
all. It's not even they're not trying to
I
fake
am
it.
so happy. I love it for you. I love it for
Thank you
you.
so
And I'm
much.
so happy that you came here to share your story with us. We really cannot wait to have other people share their story. And I would love to
Yes.
have you back. Even
Thank you so
co-host,
much.
ladies like you. So I know there's so many people that would, have something to
Definitely.
share.
Yeah,
It would really be
definitely.
a pleasure.
Thank you
Thank you
so
so
much.
much, Dami. I
Thank
really
you.
appreciate
Thank you
it.
so much.
And
It's
thank
been
you
good
guys
here.
for watching, and share in the comment section. Tell us what you think. Tell us if you've seen something like this, or if you've passed through something like this. You can always also come to the DM. You don't have to do it in the comment section. I understand. And my name is Magdalene. Thank you again for watching. I Have Questions with Maggie. Bye.
Thank you, sis. Thank you.